This is our second match. It's going to be between Dog and DanV. Let's get them counted down in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Thank you, Burrito Dad, for gigantifying an emote. And Twitch for the 3, 2, 1 countdown bits. And Twitch is adding 10% to your bits contributions to the channel. That's pretty good. DanV on the board with a Tetris as we get underway. Dog, you know, as the two-time CTWC world champion. Won it in 2020 and 2021. The online years, arguably the most difficult and talent-packed CTWC of all time. And to win those back-to-back, I think is a kind of an underrated accomplishment. People don't talk about it as much as they should. I think it's probably the hardest thing that's ever been done in classic Tetris. So there's that. And then Dog is also an 8-time winner of classic Tetris Monthly Masters events. DanV setting up the VITs, but having to take a skim to uncover it. Dog, yes, an 8-time winner of CTM major events. And that's inclusive, when you see that star, that's inclusive of Masters, Mega Masters, and Lone Star Open Championships. DanV, of course, our intrepid YouTube editor and uploader. Truly one of the people who is unheralded. Well, maybe he is heralded. Are you heralded? I think he's heralded. But maybe under-heralded. 129 here for Dog, 188 for DanV. Yeah, Dasters stars are separate. Dasters. Did you really make me say Dasters? Oh my god, I quit. I quit Tetris. 210 DanV, 174 Doug. Yeah, Dastmaster stars. In fact, I was gonna change the symbol for the Das Masters. I know, you got me. You got me. Dog also, in that weird year of 2023 where we had 11 different winners across our 12 events for that year, Dog was the only repeat winner across those 12 events. So Dog, even though winning those world championships in or CTWC world championships in 20 and 2021, staying relevant, is as good as ever. And, well, really better than ever. 193 Dog, 326 DanV. Although what is not better than ever is Dog's stack right now. And Dog, of course, don't forget, was the runner-up in the most recent Classic Tetris World Championship. This guy has never finished below the top 4 in CTWC in the 5 years that he has competed. Truly amazing. I think it's probably the greatest run that any player has ever had. 224 for Dog, 394 for DanV. Vandy, do you think Dog is the best ever? Well, I'm not going to say that while the players are playing, but ask me after the match. But yes. 273 for Dog, 463 for DanV. But does not have the best ever stack at the moment. It is actually backed by 190,000 points to DanV. He's pacing a little bit, 464 through 91. And that is some pace. Now, back in the day, we used to not say pace because players couldn't handle knowing that they were on pace, but they all know they're on pace. I mean, it's like not calling, like, you know, Babe Ruth or Willie Mays or whoever. I mean, obviously, you got to acknowledge. 534 for DanV, 312 for Doug. And DanV continuing to add to this lead. And he is just, he's on fire right now. 581, not literally, so don't call anyone, but 581 DanV. There's another Tetris. He's got 605 and 10 lines to go until the 19 transition. And Dan 630, but gaps in his stack. And so this is going to be tough to bring this down this high on 19, even on 19 for these players. But, you know, and the gaps are sort of concentrated there in the middle of the stack, which is really hard because when you try to go to down stack, then 430 transition for Dog, you end up putting more weight on the very holes that you are trying to clear away. So Tetris for Dog 482. DanV still up high, and that's just what I said, sort of coming into play here. You just end up putting pieces on the very gaps that you are trying to clear away. All right, he's going to uncover a well down that right side, and that's going to help him bring this stack down. Give him a little bit of breathing room, and then expose these gaps to start burning them away. And meanwhile, that has allowed Dog to close this gap considerably. DanV now clean, and now trying to establish a Tetris well at the bottom of the board. Dog 565, DanV 673. So that was the opening that Dog needed after a pretty subpar level 18 phase. Tetris for Dog 621, now within just about 50,000 points. And actually, Dog is now behind in lines by, you know, about 8. So this is a lot closer now, and that was a very costly sequence for Dan. Tetris for Dog, Tetris for DanV. DanV now with just a 59,000 point lead and ahead right now by... All right, well, Dog's going to Tetris. DanV Tetris is, yeah, ahead by about 7 lines and 60,000 points. So it's pretty neck and neck now after the way it started. That's wild. Josh is here. Josh Camo, thank you for stopping in and saying hello. Tetris DanV 865, 801 for Dog. Another Tetris for DanV. So still about a 7-line difference. When they have a 7-line difference, it's about a 60K difference. And right now, that's about 2 Tetrises. All right, Dog setting up that long bar in column 9 to get Tetris ready. It takes a couple of nice skims here, trying to work this down. Tetris for Dan. He's got the max out going into 28. So remember that. And we'll see what Dog's pace is when he gets into 28. There's a Tetris for him. So Dog will be, if he gets a Tetris here, he'll be about 1 Tetris behind going into 28. DanV into 29 at A77. And he's ahead by about 100,000 points at this moment, but 10 lines ahead and climbing. And Dog with a clean board. DanV trying to get his board clean. Dog going to transition in at A20. Dog with a good flat stack here on 29. Josh Camo became a member on YouTube. Thank you very much, Josh. BO4 for Dog. BO6 for DanV. DanV's board, all kinds of messy. About 7 high here and just gaps everywhere. So he's going to have to do a lot of work to bring this down. Meanwhile, Dog is going to Tetris into the lead, and he's got a good flat low board. DanV's board is dead. It is gone, and he has topped out. And Dog, with the perseverance, has won game number 1. I honestly didn't think he was going to pull it out. He was so far behind, but he just turned it on when he needed to, and Dog is going to take game number 1. Great performance from Dog here. to persevere. In 3, 2, 1, Sepulcher time. Evie Baby, what's up? Evie, Neo 80, Andres NYC, Chaos, and Xenon. Thank you very much, Dog Watching Tetris, for the 20 subscriptions given out to the Classic Tetris Monthly community. And you are indeed a community. I know that you didn't want to become part of a community. You just wanted to play Tetris. And then we have ensnared you. We've trapped you into a community. And here you are. Is this best of 3? No, this is a best of 5. My apologies, Luke Moistwalker. Yes, this is a best of 5. So the first player to 3 in their little score box is the winner. Yeah, nearly every pro level tournament in an open format is going to be best of 5. If it's not at this point, it's, some specialty thing or whatever. I've got my TV back. My TV was over at Simply's house. I lent a couple of CRTs and setups and things to Simply for his tournament. Oh, that's true. Some regionals do best of 3 in the early rounds. Live events will often do best of 3 in the early rounds. But I got my TV back. And so now I can do the Nick Gamer Challenge, which I've been itching to do. All right, no, I haven't. I just heard about it. Was Simply being nice. Simply seems like a nice, humble dude, if you think humility is a virtue. 185 for DanV. Board starting to climb. Long bar over Tetris. That's going to help bring this down. But yeah, Simply seems like a down to earth guy. 212 DanV, 196 for Dog. Oh, Dan gonna miss the Z spin. Set that up, kind of a little cute setup with that J piece, and missed it. But he still got the lead. 287 for Dan, 228 now, 250 for Dog. Mr. Brain says, I should really try to get an actual console. I think I'd do better with real equipment. Yeah, I think nearly everyone would do better with real equipment. $290 for DanV, $276 for Dog. All right, we are very neck and neck at the moment. Just a few thousand points and a few lines separating these two players. Tolerable paces. Ideally, you'd like to have about 400,000 through 80 lines, but the RNG doesn't always allow that. But if you got about 300 through 80,000, you're still okay. It is hard to get a CRT in certain places. In Austin, so I know there are a lot of places you can get a CRT for free. Just go on Craigslist and people are just like, free old television, right? And you can just go pick it up. Austin is not like that at all. I know there's probably some cabal or cartel or something that is just going around and scooping up all the CRTs and that are free, and they are instantly grabbing them. And then everyone else is kind of like, oh, I know what I got. I'm selling it for $100 or whatever. It's kind of insane here in Austin trying to get a free CRT. It's just not possible. Very rare. 468 DanV, but in a lot of places, you can still find them. DanV setting up the Vits, getting the Vits to set up for the Tetris, and now waiting on the Tetris bar. Inspiring in the middle here, so having to work around that little tower. And of course, okay, finally, long bar over. 498 for Dog through 122, 495 through DanV. Pace advantage for Dog. DanV, the first one into 19, though, 521. Are there LEDs running on CRT settings? I mean, CRT is not a setting. It's a technology. And it's an analog technology, which means basically, you know, inputs are pretty much instantaneous. Whereas on, you know, LED TVs, there's processing involved, and that processing happens on a computer, and that takes cycles to happen, so there is a little bit of lag. 583 from Dan, nice flat long bar on the right side. Another long bar for a Tetris, 611, 650 for Dog. We're on level 21. Dan now into 22. So about somewhere between a 5 and 9 bar difference between the players at any given time. Yeah, there are some LED displays which are very low latency, and a lot of times they can get it down to like 1 frame of lag. But you know, when you see the window for some of these maneuvers you got to do on Tetris, like 1 frame can chew up a lot of the window to execute some of these moves. 727 for DanV, 790 for Dog after a Tetris, and Dog 5 lines behind. Now, that being said, I mean, Fractal, when he was at college, or when he is at college, uses the retro USB AVS on a monitor, and that does introduce a small amount of lag. And he did all his big, you know, accomplishments like colors and things like that on the AVS, so it is possible. And Brodendamp is someone who played on a flat screen. So Dog bringing this down. I was scared for a minute for Dog on that, but again, I don't know why I ever doubt this kid. Brings it down. Great down stacking and survival for Dog. 865. Just looking for one more. Just looking for a bar to kind of bring this down. And yes, we'll get that bar. 903. DanV now. The AVS and monitor combo is, you know, if you get the right monitor, it can be almost imperceptible lag, but I do slightly notice it. Even at my crappy Tetris level, I can notice it a little bit. But it's very small. It's very playable. 983 for DanV. Max out here for Dog heading into 28. DanV's got the max out just about on his way out of 28, and he's into 29 at A27. This is transition score. S flat on the right side for DanV. Trying to bring this down, gets a square left to downstack this. Dog with a Tetris into 29. He's at A83. DanV hangs a bar, and he's going to top out. And he can't get the bar over. He was about 9 high right and couldn't get the bar over. So he's going to top out, and Dog is good in game number 2. So GG's again to both of our players, and Dog going to take this one. And I will say the intentional top out here for Dog. Hanging the bar. Isn't that the way it always happens? Let's get him started. Dog up 2 games to none. DanV looking to win this one to extend his time in this tournament in 3-2-1 Tetris. Yeah, Dog being extremely flexible. He's going to, you know, depending on how this one goes, he has agreed to play an 11 p.m. Central match on a Saturday night. And it's a solo match, and, you know, I appreciate flexibility. You know, not everybody's in a position to be as flexible as we want them, and, you know, everyone's got practicalities in their lives and exigencies that occur, and you know, we can't always keep our lives 100% open to Tetris, although I try to. But you know, we appreciate the flexibility by the players. Does AVS have input display? Native, I'm not sure. I don't remember. I never used that. All right, we're underway here in game number 3. Dan with a high but good sloping setup. A couple Tetrises here. And just the one burn so far for DanV. He's going to take another burn here. And he's at 138. 41,000 for Dog. Title says Das Masters, does it? It says Masters and Das Masters. So technically you're right. It does say Das Masters, but in context, I think you have reason to think there's something different or special going on today. So look at that. Context. Wow. All right, Dog, about couple Tetrises behind, or a little less than 2 Tetrises behind so far. We're doing one match of Masters event today, followed by a little bit of a gap, and then a Das Masters solo match. Now, I'd really love to not have this be a trend of every match just getting chopped up into parts. One of the reasons why this is sustainable is because I can do these matches in chunks. And, you know, if we continue to have these scheduling woes, and again, I understand people's lives and all that, but we'll have to just come up with some other system. 251 for Doug, 289, which would be less flexible than it is now. I think we probably have a very good flexible system. Tetris DanV 312. He's got the lead when the score is tied here at 69 lines. 274 for Dog. Steele, you don't need to schedule. I know you really want to see this match, but we've explored all the possibilities, so don't worry about it. We have explored all the possibilities. All right, Tetris DanV 411, 367 Dog. Dog will get a Tetris, so about a 1 Tetris lead now for Dan when the lines are tied. All right, Tetris for both. Dog back by 2 Tetrises worth of points and 1 Tetris worth of lines. All right, DanV with a very amusing couple of gaps in his stack. Apparently he's very amused by them. Maybe more bemused. Is he bemused or amused? And why don't we have C-mused or D-mused? I don't understand. All right, Tetris or Dog 503, 511 for DanV. T-mused. All right, Dog getting set up. gets a Tetris, and he's actually in the lead now. The score, the lines are tied, basically. They've got a couple lines to go before the 19 transition. Speed's going to increase by 50%. DanV is the first one in at 562. And a dirty Tetris from Dan. Dirty Dan is here. And Dog with some gaps in his stack sort of near the top. He's going to have to clear these away. He's into 19 at just about 600K. Dan gets a Tetris over. Good, clean, low board. Sets up for the Vits, and Jasmine loves it. And a Tetris for him. He's at 642, 634 for Dog. Another Tetris Dan, 700,000. We got 100 lines of this level 19 speed. Pieces drop from top to the bottom in 2/3 of a second. DanV gonna miss the spin on the right side. That'll cause a couple extra lines of burning there for him. And Dog in the lead, 771. He's ahead in score, behind in lines. All right, Dan stashing pieces over on that left side. Gonna miss with the bar on the right. So maybe having trouble tapping these pieces to the right side. And he's gonna set up one row dirty. Gets the Tetris, column 10, 833, 860 for Dog. 6 lines back. We're now about 45 lines away from the level 29 transition where the speed will double, my friends. I mean, this looks fast enough, but you realize the speed will double. That's crazy. Now, see what Dog's going to do here with this kind of well that's sort of set up. And yeah, he's going to skim it into a Tetris well and get that dirty center well Tetris 984 for him. By the way, don't forget the prize pool, ctm.gg/Matcherino will take you there, or use the Matcherino command in chat. We'd love to pump that up to 2,000 so we can pay our top 8. Max out for Dog, he's on 26. Max out for DanV, he's on 27. 11 lines ahead. Tetris Dog A52. Tetris DanV A79. Dog's at the B55. That is a 1.1 million. When we run out of numbers in that first digit, we start switching to letters. All right, DanV, a little bit of a complicated board, but low enough where he can work it down, and that is what he is doing. He's got a 1.1. Dog with the 1.2 into 29. So about a 70,000 point lead for Dog right now. He's got about 10 lines in hand. And Dog setting up for a Tetris, skims and gets it, C80. Dan setting up for a Tetris. He's going to skim and he gets it, B82 for him. Dog with another Tetris. He's got over 100,000 point lead. Dan going to get a Tetris, so now it's a 100,000 point lead with 9 lines separating them. Another Tetris for Dan, C64. And 2 champions here battling it out in a pivotal match. Our pivotal game here in this match. Dog with the S flat on the right side. That skims away easily, and he's going to be able to get a Tetris based on that. The power of the S flat. E18, Dog D16, Dan. Dan's board was starting to climb a little bit, but it looks like he's going to be able to bring this down. Oh, great L piece for that left side to help him do that. Dog with the E78, D42. Oh, no, and Dan's going to hang another bar on that left side. And Dan's 5 taps to the left and 4 taps to the right seem to be doing him in a little bit. I mean, that is tough to do. Dog is good. He can mullen this out. He's got an F25 through 35. So he's got 30 lines to play with here to maybe set a really high competitive score. He's got the rollover 1.6 in 28 lines. We'll see what he does here with the mullen. He's got the match in hand. And yeah, it's a little bit of burning here. That's going to cut his pace down a little bit. We'll see what he can do. Long bar over Tetris. He's got the 1.7. Once we run out of letters A through F, it goes back and starts using numbers again. Oh, dog with that bar in the middle. Anything. Oh, my word. How is he doing this? And a bar gets over, and he's got the 1.8. Can he set up for anything here without skimming? I don't know. I mean, if anyone can, he can. And he gets the bar over. Amazing for that last Tetris into 39. This guy is nuts. Sets up for a dirty Tetris. 6 rows off the bottom to cap it off with a Tetris. Dog is good and has taken round 1 in his sweep against DanV. DanV, always a great sportsman here. Thank you, DanV, for, I don't know, for being here and mostly for uploading the YouTube stuff. So this means what happens now? So we've got Dog versus Neko. I mean, it's crazy setting up for a dirty Tetris. Hey everybody, this is your old pal Vandweller, host of Classic Tetris Monthly, and I'm asking you to do me a favor. If you like this video, hit thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, please subscribe and bang that notification bell. Join our Discord server, the largest Classic Tetris community online, at ctm.gg/discord, and follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/monthlytetris. Thank you, and have a nice day.